Welcome everyone to Legally Speaking. I'm Kenya Johnson.
And I'm Sonia Brown. Legally Speaking is brought to you by the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, GABWA.
GABWA is a voluntary bar association that seeks to advocate for women and children and empower our communities. Now please remember, this show is not intended to give legal advice. So if you believe that you have a legal concern, it's always important to consult with an attorney.
Have you ever thought about becoming a television or recording star? How about writing your own book or screenplay? Well, on today's show, we'll discuss everything you need to know about entertainment and media law.
Our guests today have valuable insights on this particular topic. When we come back, we'll hear from media attorney Tiffany Simmons and attorney turned author Monica McCullough.
Stay with us, there's more to come on Legally Speaking.
June 24, 2000, GABWA and the Fulton County Juvenile Court, with the assistance of the Georgia Supreme Court Commission on Equality, began its award-winning Sister-to-Sister mentoring program. Sister-to-Sister's mission is to intervene in the lives of teen girls, ages 13 to 17, and help keep them out of the juvenile justice system by providing nurturing, one-on-one mentoring relationships. If you'd like to learn more about Sister-to-Sister, please visit the website at sistertosistermentoring.org.
Welcome back to Legally Speaking. I'm Kenya Johnson. Today's topic is media and entertainment law, and we're joined by media attorney Tiffany Simmons and attorney and author Monica McCullough. Welcome to our show today.
Thank you.
Monica, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I should first explain that in the legal community I'm known as Monica McCullough. Since graduating from Howard University, I have clerked with Judge Gail Tucson. I've also worked at two firms here in the Atlanta area, and most recently I moved to the position of employment counsel at a healthcare company. But probably more of interest today is the fact that my alter ego is as Imani, the author of You Are Not Alone, a self-published book of inspirational thoughts that came out in 2009.
Now, how did a practicing attorney transition to being a published author?
For me, it was a long journey. I always knew that I had a passion for writing. I think I started my first book at the age of 7. But it wasn't until life circumstances brought about material that I really honed in on the passion to write.
Okay.
So.
And Tiffany, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice.
Well, I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've been in the South for about 15 years now. I went to Florida A&M University undergrad. I am a graduate of Atlanta's John Marshall Law School here in Atlanta. My practice is Simmons Law. We specialize in business, criminal, and entertainment law.
Now, we always hear about Los Angeles and Hollywood, and now we're starting to hear that Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South. Is Atlanta becoming a contender for TV and movie deals?
Atlanta is a contender for TV and film. There has been over $7 billion in revenue made in Georgia on TV and film. Right now, there's 33 productions being taped right now as far as TV, and then film. There have been over 700 feature films here in Georgia, so definitely Georgia stands stands its ground.
So for aspiring artists, tell us what and who are the key players in television and film?
Well, the key players with TV and film definitely is the talent. It ranges from an ordinary person to a celebrity. From there, you have your producers and your production company. Once you have your production done, then you have your showrunners, and they take it to the people that greenlights the project.
Okay. Monica, I'd like to talk about your book a little bit. Can you...
I'm Imani now.
Imani, please tell us a little bit about your book and how you came to publish it.
Sure. So You Are Not Alone was a little bit of an atypical journey because it came to me in the wee hours of the morning. I started waking up around 5 a.m. Sometimes it was 4:58, sometimes it was 5:02. But I had this overwhelming urge to write about my thoughts and experiences. And so I started to journal about, the search for purpose, about aging parents, about looking for love, all the things that we don't really talk about. And before I knew it, I had folks asking to be added to my distribution list. And at the end of this journey, I realized that I had written enough thoughts to compile into a book and that someone might be helped by it. I didn't want to take the time to do the traditional publishing route because that can be time intensive. So instead, I thought I'll self-publish it. I'll get it into the hands of as many who might be moved by it and go from there. So I self-published.
So how did you begin the process of self-publishing your book?
I did a lot of research, but I chose to go through Create Space, which is a division of Amazon. And they offer everything from graphic designers to editors. I didn't utilize all those services, but depending on what package you want, they can do everything. Take your manuscript, and at the end of the day, you have a book in your hands that's available on demand or wholesale to distributors.
Okay.
So.
Now, Tiffany, for our viewers that are interested in being on a reality television show, what should they expect? What should they consider going forward?
Well, definitely, anyone that is interested in being talent on a reality show, they should expect the unexpected. When you go in, if you're not a talent that has bargaining power or some sort of leverage to have some creative control, you are open to what the producers want to show of you. One thing I do tell people that are aspiring to be on the reality shows, there are a lot of shows being taped in Georgia, the Love and Hip Hop, and other shows. If that's something that you want to do, just consider the long-term effects it may have on your career.
Well, speaking of that, is there any longevity in being a reality television character?
Well, we have seen a lot of the reality show characters transition into other areas and bring longevity to their career. But when you're looking at someone that's on a reality show, a lot of times they're cast or they're typecast as a character. So that may be a hard transition if they choose to do other things. Traditionally in TV and film, a leading actor has maybe 6 or 7 years of life as an actor, but if you're a character actor, you can have a career that spans over 50 years. But with this sort of, phenomenon, the reality TV, it's hard because you're so typecast as that person that you portray on that reality show.
So if you're known to cause a lot of conflict and fight, do people start to expect that you'll do that in all your appearances?
Of course. I mean, we have numerous people we can name in the media that have been known to, fight and bring drama. But at the end of the day, like I tell my clients in any arena, you have to look at the long-term effects this has on not only your money, but how it affects your family.
So for those that may be interested in breaking into television or film, what advice do you have for our viewers?
First off, I would say, well, it depends on if you want to be the talent or if you want to be behind the scenes. If you're interested in being the talent, I would tell you to definitely educate yourself. Learn, how to speak, how to act, how to the behaviors that actors do. That's one thing I would say. And then if you want to do something behind the scenes, start at the bottom. Be a production assistant. Contact the Georgia Film Commission. You can also contact some of the casting agencies. You can contact the Georgia Production Partnership. And those are ways that you can show people, hey, I'm interested in this and I have talent and skills to bring to the table.
Monica, do you have any recommendations for potential authors?
I sure do. The first two you've heard before. Write every single day. Just open the document. Doesn't matter if it's one magic sentence a day. You've sewed into your purpose. 2, perfect your craft. Just like Tiffany was talking about, it's really important that you take the time to take a writing class or read books on how to be a better writer. And then finally, believe in yourself. And it probably sounds cliche, but when I first published this book, I remember, I was almost embarrassed when people complimented me on it. I would, downplay it because I didn't yet believe that I was a writer. I think as attorneys, oftentimes we're taught to be perfectionists and we're paid to be perfectionists. And so it took me a while to realize that it was okay for me to claim that this is a gift that I've been given and to be excited about sharing it.
What I'm hearing from both of you all is preparation and research. And they say that luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And so we can see how that plays into both genres.
Yeah.
Monica, do you have any projects coming up?
I have 2 inspirational novels that are not yet released that I'm really excited about. The first is called When I Was Broken. It's the story of a woman struggling to pick up the pieces after her husband has a schizophrenic breakdown. So heavy topic, but I think it will resonate with anyone, not only who's loved someone who has mental health challenges, but anyone who's ever loved and lost and had to believe in love again.
Will you self-publish or go the traditional publishing route?
I am deciding that now. I'm going to give traditional publishing a try, meaning that I'm now soliciting agents. It's a really arduous process. You get one page to basically sell that agent on why they need to take on your project. If they pick it up, then that agent will then sell it to a publisher. So it's a wonderful process, but it can take a lot of time to find that right fit.
And Tiffany, for aspiring filmmakers, are there funds out there for help in producing films?
Yes, there are funds out there. I recently participated in a fundraising class that was for documentary seekers. And there are funds, there are foundations out there. One thing I would say, if you are looking for funds to get your film done, create a sizzle reel, create something to show people why they should invest in your project. That's one route to go. Also, save your money. Use your savings, use your funds from other work that you have. You can also look at your network. Family and friends, they may be able to invest in your project as well. So definitely there are ways to get your vision out there. Seeking myself or another entertainment attorney to kind of guide you through that process, that will be advantageous.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us today, and good luck to both of you in your future projects. When we return, we'll hear from two attorneys that specialize in the area of music law and the music industry. Stay with us. There's more on Legally Speaking.
Welcome back to Legally Speaking. I'm Sonia Brown. On today's show, we're talking about entertainment and media law. In our first segment, we heard from attorney turned author Monica McCullough and media attorney Tiffany Simmons. We'll now talk to two people very familiar with the recording industry. We have with us today music business professor Monica Ewing and music attorney Evita Kaigler. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I am very excited to have you here and to talk more about the recording industry and the law surrounding that. But before we get started, I'd love to hear how both of you got started in this area.
When I graduated from Emory Law School in 1989, I went to work for Atlanta City Attorney's Office. And in my time that I served there, Mayor Jackson created an Office of Cable Communications and Film. I was assigned to that department. I came to that job with a love of music and theater. I played instruments, I had done musical theater. So it sort of was a natural attrition, although I can't say I actually planned it. So when I started my own practice in 1992, I continued to work in that area.
I always say our gifts make room for our greatness, and yours sure did in
Yes,
this
it did.
area. And Attorney Kaigler, how did you get involved in this area?
Well, I always tell people that my journey to becoming a music attorney started from when I was a kid, really my journey with music.
Okay.
I am here because of the music. I love music, and I always say music is my drug. It's my thing. And so for me as a kid, music was the thing that I just loved. It seemed to relate to me. I related to it. It was my friend. So growing up, I wanted to be the recording artist. I wanted to be the songwriter. I tap dance and sing and twirl all over the place, and I still do. I still do. So, you know, I moved to Atlanta in 1997 with my parents, and at that time, it was huge. The music scene was huge, so that's what I really had my sights set on. And I was actually in line for lots of auditions, like thousands of other people, and I remember standing in line in an audition saying, this is not how my relationship with music is going to happen. It wasn't fulfilling for me. I felt like I didn't have to compete for my place in music. And basically I was just a kid that got confronted with the music business and I didn't like how it made me feel. So I read lots of books about the music industry, really trying to figure out how to become a part of it. And I read a book that was written by an entertainment lawyer that completely opened my eyes at 17 years old. And I said, this is what I'm going to do, because this is a man who seemed necessary to music. In his book, they were calling it the Bible of the music industry. I said, this guy here, he's doing something. He's in control of his contribution to music, and he's helping the space still. That's what I want to do. So that was the decision, and I went to college knowing this is what I wanted to do. I went to Emory Law School knowing that's what I wanted to do. Graduated, no one was offering jobs to do that here in Atlanta. So I started my own practice in 2006, and we're still here.
Excellent, and I love how your journey, your love of music took you
Yes.
into this. And so let's talk about the music industry. Attorney Ewing, I'll start with you. If someone wants to get into the recording industry and they've come to you and they want to get a contract, what are some of the types of deals, the types of contracts that people in the music industry tend to get today?
Well, right now we're sort of firmly situated with this model of a 360 deal. That's what that's the street name for it. And the name of that comes from the fact that for the first time in history, the music industry, the record labels are actually participating in all of what we call the ancillary revenue streams of the artist, which now means for the first time, instead of just taking a percentage of record sales, they're taking a percentage of touring, they're taking a percentage of merchandising, publishing, etc., theater, whatever, write a book, they take a piece of it. And so it's an entirely new model that was actually born from the need for the record companies to find a way to recover and recoup the revenue they were spending on making records, because we aren't selling enough records for them to ever be able to stabilize and recoup that money back. So they sort of justified that to the community by saying, everyone knows record sales are down at this digital age, we've got to figure out another way to keep the doors open. And that was born the 360 deal.
Okay, well, wonderful. And you said a couple of things I want to touch on. We talked about record sales being down, and I know I use the word record and album all the time, and I know that's probably, I'm aging myself with that, but Attorney Kaigler, tell me, how is it that artists are getting paid today? What are the streams? What's the way that their music is getting out there?
There's lots of different revenue streams, and your ability to generate money within a particular revenue stream, a lot of it comes from just kind of where you are in your career. If you're dealing with a higher level recording artist, not only are they making money from recording sales, provided they've recouped, that's a whole nother conversation, but sometimes people will pay them to show up places, a lot of money. And when I see these deals, it's very, very surprising. It's like, you just need to walk through and they're gonna pay you this, but it's dealing with their name, their image, and their likeness, and the brand. So a lot of the revenue streams are coming from how solid is the brand. So there's endorsements, clothing lines, appearing places, letting people license your image. So there's lots of different revenue streams, and I think if you're up and coming within the music space, or even if you're established in the music space, having a solid grasp on what your brand is and all of the extensions of the brand, realizing that music is the core, but selling music is not your primary revenue stream that's going to support you, unless of course you're on a higher scale where you're selling millions and millions and millions of albums. But a lot of times you have to put in the work, even if you're a very well-established artist, to even get those types of numbers.
Okay, great. And I know that you talked about established artists, and Attorney Ewing, I know that you've worked with some of the biggest artists. Your name is the name that comes to me when I think of an attorney in the music industry. How did you counsel your artists when they came to you, especially if it wasn't someone who was established, someone who was new and up and coming? How did you counsel them about what they were getting into?
Well, when I first came into the music industry, I just happened to be positioned when the Atlanta music scene exploded. Prior to that, and Evita and I were just having this conversation in the back, prior to the explosion of hip hop, the music scene in Atlanta was what I call residential. You just had, had a lot of people that lived here who happened to be entertainers. And then when hip hop happened, music actually was born here, really. We started to have real record label representation and presence in the city. And since then, it's changed again, and now it's becoming more residential. And so what happens is, what you say to someone, what I would have said to someone in 1992, compared to what Evita would say to them today, or what I would say to them today, is a very different conversation. We actually had a lot more hope and a lot more real opportunities right here in this city, whereas right now we really don't. I mean, we do a lot of deals living here and working here, but most of the work we do is going to be in Nashville or LA or in New York.
Okay.
We're not really signing things here. So
Okay.
you just have to tell people now, they have to be realistic about what the opportunities are. It's a difficult way to make a living. It's a difficult way to support yourself. You have to make sure that you're here because you love it and not because you have dreams and aspirations of, you know, what you see.
Right.
Because there's a huge gap between those opportunities right now.
Okay, and we talk about opportunities, and I know 20 years, fast forward the digital age. We've got internet radio, we've got YouTube. How do you talk to an artist, Attorney Kaigler, about protecting themselves if they put their music out on the internet or some sort of a social network?
It's a conversation that happens over time. What I find is that there's a lot of information available to young artists or songwriters and producers, but the lack of knowledge.